Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome everyone to this week's Oppt-In show. This is Lisa Harrison, and I don't know what to tell you about today's show. I mean, we are always winging it on these shows to some degree, especially since we got back on air at the beginning of this year, because events have unfolded at such a speed, things can change just before we go live. So, but I think that's never been more true than today, to be honest, because the communications have been so scattered, especially with Heather, over the last 3 or 4 days, that we're going on bits and pieces and snippets of information to try and share with you. We did have Heather online about half an hour ago for 10 or 15 minutes, and the connection was very bad. It kept dropping off. And about 10 minutes ago, she dropped off. And it's stayed off so far. So we're going to do our best today to share with you what we can. Myself, Chris, Bob, and Brian are all here with little bits of information that we can hopefully put together a big picture for you. So we'll get started. I'd like to bring out Brian. You there, Brian?
Yes, I am. Hello, Lisa.
Hello. Welcome. It's going to be a day. And Chris, are you there?
I'm here, and head spinning like the rest of you guys, because as Lisa just said, we've got a very interesting picture to paint, but slightly a jigsaw puzzle at the moment. But what we've decided to do is just tell you everything we know.
Which is not a lot. Sometimes it feels like, but anyway, Bob, where are you?
I'm here. I am here. Hello, Lisa. Hello, everyone.
Now, before we move any further, I just want to say to everyone, please go to freedomreigns.us to get into the chat room. That one does hold an awful lot more people than the one at Blog Talk, and Diatra would prefer it if we went there. It gives her a better indication of how many of you are joining in on these calls as well. So please go to freedomreigns.us and click on the chat link. So we are continuing to try and, as always, bring Heather on the call. And if she comes on, she comes on. But where do we start? I mean, guys, we've been talking, and we're certainly feeling the energy. People are feeling the energy. There's been some very interesting articles, pieces of data come online in the last 24 hours that we've all taken note of. There's one that we want to bring your attention to in particular, which originally was posted on a website called Quantum Odyssey. It's also been reposted at American Kabuki. I won't give you the Quantum Odyssey address simply because it's far too long, but if you go to American Kabuki, it's titled The Next Great Event in the Awakening. If you'd like to read it. It's a fascinating piece of information. Brian, you want to elaborate on it?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, this particular article got shared with me by Diva last night as we were Skyping, and
it sounds like you're looking away from the microphone, Dylan. We can't quite hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it got shared with me last night, and I had one of those reactions to it, similar to the one when we read the document talking about the end of duality that got put together. It was a trigger. It looks like somebody's trying to. Maybe we'll get Heather. Do you guys get that beeping or no?
It's actually Diva. No, it's D.
Oh, D.
Hey, D.
Okay, cool.
Hi, guys. I'm muting out because I have screaming children all over the place. But I'm
appreciated.
So, hi, D. You don't have to respond. I know you're muted. So, back to what I was saying, reading it, I mean, it was a really big trigger for me. It triggered some emotions. It triggered some dreams that I have that were very similar to some of what was described in this particular article. And once everybody read it, that was in this particular Skype room, everybody kind of all agreed. And then this morning when we woke up, we, Heather, considering she's in Africa, she talks a lot of stuff through the night, and then we wake up and read it in the morning. And some of her comments that she had to weigh in on this particular article essentially was such that she agreed with almost every component except one of the lines that is based in somewhat of a limited perspective in the 3D, 4D, 5D use of terminology, which she's, now, she has been saying, and we've all been saying, that it's a reconciliation to the absolute, and the hierarchy is part of the illusion. And so it was a confirmation for me. I mean, I knew when I read it that this is something that this particular event is something I know a lot of people have been not only waiting for, but readying themselves for at a much deeper level of awareness and a much deeper level of consciousness to be a part of whatever and however this whole thing unfolds. And what it's saying is that March of 2013 is going to be the month which has been also what I've been told is that the Hopis through Drumbulo Melchizedek have been saying the same thing, and there's a few other groups that have also been saying the same thing. And as much as I don't like to get caught up, and I said this last night, I really don't want to get caught up in holding on to some date or some attachment or expectation to to linear time, some linear time goal of when this will all unfold. But today I went on to, I know we usually keep a lot of this stuff reserved for the Collective Imagination show, but considering where we are and how quickly this is all unfolding, it sounds like it makes a whole lot of sense for the merging of the two concepts to go together, because there's a very multi-dimensional aspect to everything that's happening right now. And so before I went on to my radio show that I did this morning, which is the ET
Brian, can I interrupt for just a moment? Brian?
Yes. Yeah, go for it.
Are you walking around the room?
Can you hear me walking?
We can hear you moving in away from the microphone, closer to the microphone. But we've got Caleb. We've actually got Caleb with us. Caleb, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can. How are you?
Yeah, Brian, just stay near your microphone. It's the one on the computer that's working, so stay near it.
Oh, okay. Well, I have the one on my head that I've been talking into all day, but I'll sit at my computer. So, so anyways, it was I asked Heather, in regards to going onto this show, because we knew there was going to be a lot of listeners, and if she could shed some light on whether or not it was a good idea to speak to this particular article and some of the things it shared, and she told me, of course, to follow my inner guidance, which I saw that one coming from a mile away, and made the decision that referencing to it and pointing people to go and read it was a good idea, and that she also shared a message that she wrote in Skype, which I'll read here, and then Caleb will probably, if anybody has any follow-up questions with Caleb, because she talks about a meeting with Caleb and Randall in this comment. She says, just met Caleb and Randall today. Commercial registry is closed, all value returned, and OPPT satisfies its purpose, and all creation's trusts are satisfied, no longer needed. Purpose was to guard, protect, and empower being and doing, and return the value. And then in capitals, today it is all done.
Okay, Caleb, maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, well,
what's going on?
So the CVAC as a construct has never set well with me, because I'm a believer that the problem is solved when the individual rises up and solves it. If you want to learn how to play the piano, I can't do that for you. You have to learn it yourself. So the CVAC was always supposed to be a construct or an interface between the people and the powers that were on their way out the door. And the reality of it is, each individual is the value. They are the where the value is stored, and that's what the powers where we're vampiring off of through all of their paper. So the public trust held the space to speak in the language of the powers that were. Now that it's been spoken and it's not been refuted, there's no point for it to be there anymore. And I've been in a hurry to tear down the public trust for a long time. I do not like the idea of any sort of structured power anywhere, because it doesn't need to exist, ever. I never did, and it doesn't need to now. So the public trust has served its purpose. People have the ability to stand. They just have to choose to. Everyone can be a genius piano player. You may not want to sit on a hard wooden bench for 10 years, but you can do it if you want. Muggsy Bogues is 5'4", and he managed to play professional basketball. You know, it really boils down to what you want to do with your energy and your existence. So
it's for people to get their head around the idea that the People's Trust has done what it set out to do, when nothing in their, they don't see anything in their lives changed. How can you say it served its purpose? That's going to be the comeback.
I don't know. I just saw somebody float something around our chat room saying that 685 heads of large corporations and states have all resigned. So tell me when that happened in the last 40 years.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, at some point in time, if you want to be spoon-fed, and I'm not trying to ask when I say this, but if you want to be spoon-fed, then go sign a slavery contract with a different master. I don't know what to say. I'm not kidding. Like, you know, at some point in time, you have to take control of your own existence. And we have spoke to the existing construct in their language and told them that they don't have the right to my labor, and they agreed. So it's done.
Where do we go from here?
Well, start to conduct your affairs accordingly. Everyone has been saying that this is a play, and that there are actors on the stage. So stop acting. I keep seeing these write-ups go out that I have nothing to do with. None of the trustees have anything to do with. They talk about people who are being actors because they're refusing to participate. And so if everyone refuses to participate, that is your solution. It's kind of like when the peasants after the Black Plague told the lords, you got to pay us now. And they all stood up and did it. And suddenly, that's the way it was. It's the ultimate 100 monkeys syndrome. So at some point in time, people have got to say, we've had enough. And then there's your change. Otherwise, you're asking for another emperor to rise up. I mean,
there were comments. There was a comment from Heather in one of the chat rooms that you guys had done some intensive data exchange.
Yeah, Heather and I
argued term that was called. Yeah. So what came out of that? What is that? What you're talking about now? That this is what came out of that?
No, that was a different argument. I mean, discussion, intense discussion. That intense discussion had to do with labor exchanges. And Heather is saying that in the very short future, you'll tap into a construct and download whatever you need. And then there's no point for labor exchanges because it won't take 10 years to learn to play the piano. It'll go ask the universe for it, and it will give that to you.
Yeah.
And your side of the story is?
Well, I can tell when I'm playing Bach versus when I'm channeling Bach versus when I'm channeling the energy that Bach was inspired by. So the real question is am I willing to set down my pride as a person, as a human, and let that energy flow through me? Because to do that, I have to put aside my own nature, and I can't say I can't say how great I am, because something else is motivating me. I just become a vessel. So are we willing as a people to do that? It's an interesting question, but I know it's real. And you could probably tell in the recording who I'm channeling or who I'm participating with at that point in time. If it's me, or if it's Bach, or if it's the energy that he brings forth or brought forth from.
So there's so many. Go ahead, Lisa.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there's because there's so many layers to all of this. You know, right now, what's going on is there's a lot of people trying to decipher what's going on based on their senses. They can see, right? And then you have all the layers. Yeah, correct. And then you have all of those layers that are, I don't want to say more important because they're additional layers. It's more data. It's more energy. It's more and it's additional pieces to the puzzle. And so you have a lot of these things that are happening behind the scenes. People, just because they can't see it or hear it, know that there's a lot of people out there that can feel it. They're looking for answers based on things they can see and hear.
Right.
And this conversation, because that's what it's been, these conversations that we've been having, everybody listen to for the last months now, have evolved so fast and have gained so much new perspective that people are realizing that, at least I hope that some are realizing that, based on what I've been told and what I've heard, is that sooner or later, because what everybody wants to know right now, and this is the burning question, is when do I get access to this value, to these systems that allow me access to my own value? And we start to pull that apart. Yeah, I realize that. But that's the thing, that's the point that people are really coming to grips with, is when they realize that in a state of pure potentiality with infinite possibilities at our fingertips, we're coming to a place where we're not going to need the money, the illusion that has been created to get the things that we want or the things that we need or basic needs met in life, that we have the ability to create them. And so, and just to throw this out there, as we were preparing for this call, we were really hoping that Heather could get online because I know that she had some insight to share as to some of the things that I shared on my call this morning and that people are looking forward to. And you may or may not be able to shed some light on what it means right now as far as the UCC being dismantled, is what it sounds like. And what that means by way of the CVAC filings and how that affects the people and their ability to access.
I've been maintaining for a long time that the UCC is irrelevant. And the reason it's irrelevant is because when the Founding Fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence, what did they do? They took a pen and a sheet of paper and wrote words down. And they were refuted. The knights or the lords took the king into the field and said, "You behave or we're going to chop your head off." And they signed the Magna Carta. They spoke to him the language that he understood. Now, let me speak this, and everyone listen. My name is Caleb Paul of the House of Sinner. My labor belongs to me. It is mine. I will do with it as I please. Now, I have just made my statement. Does anybody care to refute it?
No.
Cricket.
Perfect. Why do we need the UCC?
We don't.
We're just in a situation where on last week's call, two things happened. One, it was announced that the CVACs would be up online within a week, and then the following week, the Treasury system would be online.
Okay.
That's one of the things that happened. The other thing that happened is that we had a discussion around and a realization that if everybody in the world, even though logistically it may not be possible, but if everybody in the world came online and had access to their value in the same day, that it would be immediately followed the following day by it being completely unnecessary.
Well, right.
Now, what we're looking at, though, is based on the current structure, that we can't skip that step. We sort of need to go through that physical step of having access to value before we can get to the point of it pointless, just based on where we're at mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and the fact that there are still remnants of the old structure. If there were no remnants of the old structure, we could probably skip that step. If something happened to switch us all on in the same way at the same time, we'd also skip that step. Now, so that's what the people who tuned into this are looking at. That's what was announced last week. In the meantime, what seems to happen is the UCC itself has been dismantled.
Right.
So therefore, filing for the CVACs I don't know where that leaves that. And they're unclear about that step of access to value. So
if they want value, go to people that stole your value and retrieve it. Okay? If I steal your car and put it in my garage, what are you going to do? You're going to come to my house, beat on my door, tell me to give it back. And if I don't, you'll show up with 3 of your friends and take it because it's yours. So if someone has your value and you want it back, go get it.
I'm playing devil's advocate here, Caleb. So give me a minute.
Here's the problem that I run into, right? And that is, you're absolutely right. If we all go give everybody some X amount of value, it's not going to matter anyway. Your goal to be worthless. You can sit on a giant pile of it and you preen on it, and about 3 days later you'll be dead because you can't eat it or drink it. So it really doesn't matter. It represents a stolen construct. If you want to go get it, it's fine. I don't really care. But as far as me and my house, it's irrelevant. I'm moving past it. Because if I got to do that, I got to give it to everyone. As I get to everyone, and it has no value. You just, it's not technically inflation, but it might as well. So what's the point of expending that energy? Like someone else I listened to on some call said, let the rich people or whoever they are take all their gold and run off to some island someplace. Perfect. That way we all know where they're at. We can put a big fence around the island, and they can sit on all our gold. Perfect. It doesn't really matter.
So Caleb, I got a follow-up question in that regard. So I see where you're coming from. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But considering that's your position, but
sure.
there's people out there in the world right now that don't have the ability to go out talking about starving people in the streets.
Sure.
That they were born into that. They don't have the ability to rally a crew and go knocking down the door of the banks or the Federal Reserve to take value that's been stolen for them. They're hungry, they're starving, they're dying. By fault of their own, there's absolutely nothing that they can do about it except continue down the road that leads to to imminent death and starvation. So it's these people that everybody is worried about. It's these people that want to see this system that gets put into place that gives them some type of ability to go out and save their own as well as their family's lives. What do these people do? So when Heather came on and she said last week that the CVAC systems are going to be done by this week. Next week there's going to be systems that are going to be put in place that gives people access to that value. And there's, it's potential that, people could have a debit card or a credit card or some kind of thumb drive that gives people access to this value. It gave everybody a lot of hope that their prayers have been answered, and there's going to be systems that are put in place to help those that cannot help themselves.
Sure.
And it's these people that everybody is right now wanting to stand up for. And because me, I have a roof over my head. I got food in my fridge. And I got electricity to keep me warm and a car to drive me around.
Perfect.
So that if you can speak to that, it's just there's a lot of unanswered questions based on the comment, the feedback that you just gave, which it doesn't really corroborate with information that was shared from last week.
Well, first of all, I can't speak for Heather. That's Heather's position. My position is the CVACs were never needed because it is ultimately the people's choice as to how they want to live. So, for example...
I agree with you, CVACs aren't. It's the access to value that is.
Yeah. So, for example, some court in Canada just said that the church was guilty of these criminal acts, right?
Sorry, I was muted, yes.
So, why don't 1,000 people get together, appoint their sheriff, and liquidate a church?
We're just saying that that's in complete opposition to what was said last week.
Again, I don't know what was said last week. I don't speak for Heather. What I'm telling you is you guys are asking for solutions, and I just gave you one. If the people are truly in control, then act like it. So if we're worried about starving people in Mexico working in garbage dumps, let's go down there. They're the people. More gold in Mexico than there was gold in Fort Knox, and that's before we knew, because of all the cathedrals, and that's before we knew that all the gold in Fort Knox was wrapped up in tungsten. So go down there and grab a church and take the gold out of it. Sell it, feed the poor.
When can you be here, my man? We'll leave right now.
Whenever. Who's in Mexico's in charge? Where's our command structure? They have to stand up for themselves. If I have to, I'll be really blunt with you people. If I have to do this, I'm going to build an empire. Because why should I do it for free? Why should I take my labor and do all of this for free? My part was playing the role that I played, and I'm happy to have done that. But at some point in time, everyone else has to stand too. I mean, I'm not trying to be an ass, but I was threatened with death, and I stood. So if I had to get death threats and be told by agents that I was going to get shot by the police, you know, where is everyone else?
Hang on, Caleb. It just sounds like the OPPT has done a 180 turn from last week. That's what people are hearing. that now there's not going to be CVACs, and now there's not going to be a access to value system. Is that what you're saying?
People can create whatever they want. What would the people like?
No, the people can't create whatever they want in a sense, because not everybody has your talents, for example, in code writing and can create a system that would give everybody access to value. I'm looking at the chat room, mate, and I'm seeing everyone going, what? Everyone thought they were going to find out today that CVACs were online. Everyone thought they were going to find out today that systems to access to treasury systems are already a couple of days away.
Sure.
And now it sounds like you're saying, hey, if you want to go down and knock doors down.
That's what I do. What I'm saying is I've never liked CVACs. And so if Heather said something last week, you have to ask Heather about that. What I'm saying is that I do not want any structure put in place that can stand between the people and whoever they are. And so if your value's been stolen from you, and everyone across this land, meaning the entire world, has had their value stolen from them, then they have one of two choices. You can move forward, right? You can just say, okay, it is what it is, and move on. Or you can go get your value. You can go knock down the doors of the cathedral and take the gold.
Yeah, but that sounds like you're trying to incite a revolution that would turn to violence, which is not the answer for anybody. No one wants that.
Well, no one wants that. But then maybe the people who have your stuff should stand down. I mean, you have options here, right? You can move forward and say, I'm going to, you come to my door, I'm going to challenge your contract and call it good, which is what the courtesy notice does. Or you can say, well, you kind of ripped me off and I want my value back.
Has anything moved forward in terms of the access to value systems?
You'd have to ask Heather that. We didn't talk about that. I only talk with Heather about things that I'm concerned with, and the CVACs do not resonate with me.
So that's a really important point to make right there, Lisa, is that the Heather and Caleb and Randall, they've always talked out in the open, totally transparent, that each had a role to play. And the reason why they were able to get such great work done is because they all brought such different and valuable and resourceful talents and viewpoints to the table that allowed them to get what they needed to get done. Heather isn't completely involved in everything that Caleb's doing, just like Caleb's not completely involved in everything that Heather's doing. So in order to be able to balance this out and give provide all the perspectives from the trustees, Heather would have to come on and speak for herself and what she has done and when she made the statements that she made last week and where they are this week. Caleb is not prepared to answer that question because Caleb hasn't been involved with what's been going on from all last week to all this week. Is that pretty accurate, Caleb?
Yeah, I can only tell you what resonates to me and how I'm conducting my affairs. And I have been itching to disband the trust and bail on the UCC for some time now. I see them as constructs that people put in the way to their freedom, and they don't need to.
Yeah, it was clear a week or so ago that the UCC was only holding the space for a time, and it too would go.
Right.
And at the moment, just holding the space for, have a place to file the necessary contracts or documents that need to be filed in order to talk to the system. Conversations about then it's no longer needed.
Right. I mean, I see the UCC as purely a registration system, right? It's just a place where you go when you put some information, and then I go, I'm gonna look at this central repository of information. And if there's something there, fantastic. If there's not, then you move forward. But like I said earlier, it's my energy. And whether it's filed on the UCC or in the Wall Street Journal or written on a stone tablet, stuck somewhere on a mountain, it's all the same. I mean, it really comes down to this. It's your existence. What are you going to do with it? It's really just that simple.
And if we loop this back around to where this whole dialogue started, in regards to things that are unfolding behind the scenes that are paving ways to new realities and new way of living, you'll start to realize that so much of this discussion and past discussions have the ability to deem themselves as completely irrelevant, because there's a possibility that this UCD, the CVAC, I'm going to quote Caleb, don't really matter anymore. Just doesn't matter. Because the UCC served its purpose. The One Public Trust served its purpose.
Right.
Whether that purpose has been made completely visible or not yet is the only element that's left out there that people have yet to determine or see for themselves to have that little, what they need in order for them to be able to understand everything that's been done. Because they can't necessarily see it with their eyes or hear it with their ears. But based on the conversations that we have had with Heather this morning and yesterday, we're kind of at a precipice here where all of that proof and visibility is to a time where it's going to be exposed for everybody to see and decide what resonates with them and what they would do with that data and with that information.
Right. They have to decide how they're going to conduct their affairs and how they're going to live their life. Like, I can't make that decision for anyone. Okay? What I can do is stand in the space, hold the space, say, no, this is right, or this is wrong. That's what we did. I can't live for anyone. If they down at the end of the corner and push you down and you're going to let him, then he's going to win. It's the way it works. It's not right, but it's how it works. And if you do a study of history, you'll find that the bully always comes up and he invokes some sort of pre-existing construct that people buy into. And it's religion or, I don't know, divine right of kings, I'm the son of Pharaoh, I had a dream, my ship sailed across the sea and yours didn't. Somehow they create these differentiators that then allow them to exert some sort of superior position. And people just go along with it. And they don't challenge it. So this whole thing is about, no, I'm not going to go along with it. I'm going to challenge it. Who are you? Who are you to speak for me? Did I give you permission to speak for me? And the answer is always no. There's no contract. There's no accommodation party agreement. It's just, I'm going to cower over here, or in some cases, it's, like my dad, bless his heart, before he passed on, just admitted it. It was easier not to do anything. So he didn't. And so at some point in time, this turns into, no, I'm going to do something. And so...
Okay, Caleb, it's Chris here. How are you?
Good, very good.
Oh, good. Caleb, you haven't had any discussions with Heather then about what she was planning to talk about on the show today?
No.
Okay, well, Brian, what I suggest we do, because Caleb, we have had there's a number of us had discussions with Heather. We've all got bits and pieces of things to talk about. So probably what we should do is try and pass on Heather's message. And
sure.
And thank you for the space you hold, because obviously, as a trustee, that's been your role, to identify that space and stand in it and let no one pass through it.
Right.
So I think, guys, what we'll do is now just starting with Brian, gather the bits and pieces that Heather asked us to put out and have that part of the conversation.
Okay, perfect.
So, and what I'm trying to say is, Caleb, thank you for coming and putting that position forward, because ultimately we still have to take action.
Right.
Each individual.
This is what I see, everyone, from the beginning of all of this, and then all of this it's been a transformational journey for everybody. Everybody is in a completely different place than they were 2 months ago. Otherwise, you just haven't been following along, because so much has changed. The world scene has changed. But all the way up until this point right now, everything that we've done and we've accomplished, who did it? We did. All of us. Every single person that had contributed to putting up a site, had contributed to putting up information, making articles, making music, who did it? We all did. All of us. And all of us are demonstrating that we're ready to do whatever needs to be done in order to move forward. But in the consideration, and Caleb, I understand what you're saying, because that's where you are, but not everyone's in that space. Not everyone is in that space, and not everyone can move into that space very quickly. Some people are going to remain time, and for a lot of us, we look at our friends, our families, and the ones that we love and we care about that are still sleeping. How can we help them? We collectively decide how we wish to move forward. What resonates with you? What is an easy way to move forward? The CVAC is a good idea, I believe, for when you consider the whole picture. Individually, other people may not need, like for instance, I don't need a UCC filing. I can speak to a police officer and stand my ground, without even mentioning the UCC filings, because I know who I am. Not everyone can do that, and not everyone feels comfortable doing that, which is why the UCC filings are there, to provide a space for you to find your legs, so to speak. And I believe that as long as we need, or others will need that, there'll always be that space there to provide the confidence that you need in order to move forward. There will always be that assistance there, but we are that assistance. Now, I believe that all of these systems have already been created and all the technology is there. And I believe collectively we've all decided how we wish to move forward. Individually, that may be different choices for certain individuals, and that's fine. But collectively, the world needs to move forward to a better place. Now,
I get that the People's Trust was a tool and a bridge.
Yes.
And we've been using it very, very well, I think.
And I don't think we should abandon it.
No, of course not.
And follow what's working, because honestly, and I'm just gonna speak from myself. The energy of this conversation sucks. The energy of this conversation, nothing against you, Caleb, but I appreciate you holding the contrast, but I'm going to have to disagree with you, buddy. I believe that the CVAC system is necessary as a collective movement, not individually, and everybody's going to go at their own pace, but there has to be a way, there's got to be a path provided that they can walk. And we're the ones that are moving, taking the lead, because we're the ones that's saying, hey, I remember who I am, and I'm awake, and it is our collective decision to help our brothers and sisters. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Amen.
I absolutely, and Bob, I think that's fantastic. I think it's perfect. But the CVACs don't need to come from me. They need to come from you.
Exactly.
Oh, and they are, and they will. They are coming from the people. Because people are already coming together in collectives and getting themselves together and networking with people to form. I mean, whether you call it a CVAC or what, it doesn't really matter what name you give it, but to form communities of people who have the same goals. That's already happening.
Yeah.
Now, whether you call it a CVAC and how you choose to formalize it, if you choose to formalize it, whether it's with documents that are from UCC or whether it's with some other means, is irrelevant. The process, the concept, I should say, of CVACs is already happening, and it's happening with the people, and that they are doing it. I know health ones and technology that are already coming together.
See, the aspect of the conversation that I want to move to is simply this: that since December 25th, Heather's been educating us as to the situation that had already occurred. Now, the idea of dropping the UCC and dropping the OPT could have happened instantly because it had done its job. But the problem is you've got 7 billion people on the planet who aren't in the same place as Caleb, and they're certainly not in the same place as Brian and Lisa and myself and most of the people listening to this call. So the work of that tool is not yet over. We've still got a lot of people to actually move to that place. So then we can move forward. And I agree with Bob. CVACs are the exact tool that we need. I don't want to drop that concept at all. I want that to go ahead. The access to value is another part of that tool. These are tools that we've been given to clear out the old system and start something new. And Caleb, as a person, I completely recognise that you'd probably do it a different way. You stated that very clearly. But I think for the rest of us, the tool set that we were presented with is something that we can go heads around and work with. So, don't want to cut you off, Caleb, but I think we need to move on with the conversation that we're going to have today.
I actually want to thank you to Caleb first, because what you just did was a great gift. It everybody in a position of really getting down deep and asking themselves how they wish to unfold. And
that is what needs to happen. Precisely what needs to happen. Because I'm not going to do it. Heather shouldn't have to do it. But the people should band together and decide how they want to be governed. And however they want to be governed is how they should move forward.
They don't want to be governed. They want to self-govern.
Right. But even in the concept of self-governance, if they want a CVAC, they're saying we want some sort of structure. Which is great. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a structure that holds. It's not a structure that governs, though. It's a structure that creates the space for service as opposed to governance. And that's okay.
No, that's fine. But they have to be the ones that come up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. Not me. Because that puts me in an authoritarian position, and I don't want to be there. I want nothing to do with authority. I want to get as far away from it as possible.
I don't think anybody, at least I didn't, and I don't think anybody that we've shared the CVAC concept with has seen it as a system of authority, because that was very clearly not a part of it. Very clear to me.
Yeah.
It was a flat plane, no hierarchy involved.
Right. We definitely don't need trustees doing it. Right. Let's just disband all these things of power as soon as we can.
But we still need that tool and the bridge to get to that point.
Sure.
That is the point of this conversation, that the OPPT and the CVAC concept is a tool. And the thing I liked about the CVAC structure is simply that it's simply a framework set up with the possibility of very short-term contracts so that you can resolve issues and turn over and introduce new concepts very quickly and shape into something completely different if we want to. It's to us where we take it from here. So I'm behind a particular aspect, and I want to push that forward. But again, look, as Lisa said, thanks, Caleb, because the smack up the side of the head, the fact that one of the discussions we've had in the last week, when you start to realise you don't need the paper, is simply that you realise that all that needed to happen was for everyone to stand up and say I am, and the game is over and the argument is done and we move forward. But, as I said before, there's 7 billion people who aren't ready to stand up yet.
Agreed, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that I don't want to be a part of that because it creates, like I am terrified of pyramids of authority, and I don't want to be part of one.
No, none of us want to be ever part of one again. Hierarchy, no thanks. Hierarchy is corruption. You can't have a hierarchy that isn't corrupt. Doesn't work.
I want to run as far away from that as I can, as fast as I can. I will conduct my affairs accordingly. And the last thing I want is people looking to me for guidance on a CVAC. I'm like, no. You have to figure that out on your own.
We won't bother you then.
So we gotta remember about the foundation of the whole CVAC concept to begin with, which is unobstructed freedom to do and be and co-create as we choose and please, so long as it doesn't harm another. And so how everybody from an individual place of total freedom of creation has to decide how that looks for them. And, I default back to a statement that David made in the chat room the other day, which made a lot of sense for everybody that was in there at the time, which is we can't possibly comprehend from our existing state, our existing level of consciousness, what the future holds in a heightened frame of elevated vibration and elevated consciousness. And what we're doing now is that. We're trying to pick it apart of how it's going to look and how it's going to feel based on a very limited perspective. And so this conversation, we all kind of said it, it's accomplished a lot to allow everybody the understanding and the realization that everyone, an individual, has their right to their opinion and their perspective and what they want to do and who they want to be. Caleb has his, I have mine, Chris and Lisa and Bob have theirs, and everybody listening to the call has theirs. So where we go from here is up to us. What people want to see now is they want to see the construct of these slavery systems become unwind once and for all to where it's visible. And they want to see, they don't want to have to file a courtesy note anymore. They don't want to have to file a UCC document anymore. They don't want to have to stand up and fight for their freedoms anymore. They want those. They want the last gasps of these slavery systems that still appear to be in place to not have any visibility and no longer be an element to this particular equation. And so nothing that's been said on this call has stopped the momentum of leading in that direction. If anything, it's reinforced that that's where we're headed. So Caleb, I appreciate what you've had to share, because everybody should right now, they shouldn't do anything. They shouldn't do anything that I'm telling them, that you're telling them. That we're not. None of us on this panel are up here saying, giving people any type of trying to be positions of authority. Trust me, I don't want that either. People send me emails to my opptcreativity@gmail account with ideas that they're looking for approval on for CVAC structures. And I'm like, no. no every time I get one of those, because it takes away the whole point. Your CVAC is your value of what you want to do to create whatever it is, whatever vision you have, healing center, farm. I've seen so many amazing ideas. Start to foster those and develop them as if you have the resources available to you to make them a reality. Because those resources, you're looking for them as, right now people are looking for them as dollars in a bank account or gold in a vault. But that value that you need to create that which you dream of creating is inside of you right now, just waiting to be unlocked, to where you realize the true power that you hold within yourself. Because we are the goods, and we are the services, and we are the value, and we have the ability to trade with one another, to put into the system and take out from the system what we need and what we choose to offer. Those people that sit around not contributing any value to the system, I can't say what they're going to take out from it more than what anybody else can make predictions based on our limited state of consciousness. But what I do know is that if you take this back to let's say the Aboriginal tribes in the outback of Australia, talked about this the other day. If you got that hunter that killed that buffalo, and he got that meat, then he goes into town because he needs a blanket to stay warm. That guy that made that blanket, he might need some of that buffalo. But if the guy says, well, wait a second, I'm not going to give you any of my buffalo, but I still want your blanket. The guy with the blanket's going to say, wait a second, I'm hungry. That's not fair. So I don't know exactly how that's going to look. But what I do know is that that guy with that blanket is going to be a lot more likely to give up his blanket if the guy with some buffalo says, I'm going to give you some of my buffalo for that blanket. Now you have an exchange of energy that it takes place that creates a harmony to where everybody wins. So,
Brian, I don't know what you're talking about. Firstly, we don't have buffalo in Australia, but that's beside the point.
Kangaroo.
Okay, I've been sitting here in the background just sort of quietly try to absorb what's going on here today. And I think this was absolutely necessary, because there has been a lot of people unsure. There's been a lot of people giving OPPT their power. There's been people. I mean, there's a whole wide range of responses to this. There are people who really, really get it and understand that it's a tool. And I think, Caleb's contribution and his energy has certainly ticked a few people the wrong way based on what's going on in the chat room, but it's been a kick up the arse. Now, OPPT woke a lot of people up and brought a lot of people together, and hopefully has helped a lot of people understand that they are value. And that in and of itself has been a huge, huge wave of a consciousness leap. We've all felt it. And I don't think Caleb... Are you still there, Caleb?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay. I don't think you think that we're all sitting around on our bums doing nothing and waiting for it to be done by yourself and Heather.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Because this has become what it's become because of everybody's doing and everybody's being, as Heather would say. And now it feels like we've hit a bit of a wall in terms of our energy. It's like that last little push. It's that last little push, and you're here to give us that kick up the bum that we need to really, really solidify within ourselves who we are. Now, if the OPPT, Caleb, Randall, and Heather disappear tomorrow, what do we do about that? where do we stand? Are we just going to go, okay, well, that was another piece of bullshit, and it probably was the cabal, and it's all over? Or do we take the energy that we've built with this? Do we take the doing and the knowing and the understanding, and do we keep moving with it? What do we do? And I'm not suggesting by any means that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying the power is obviously with us, and we're starting to get to know that now. Really get to know that now. So where do we go? What do we do? We keep going, obviously, in my opinion.
I had a conversation before the show with someone who was kind of going through, if you like, a certain nervousness about what's oncoming, and that person put the same question to me. And my response is that the OPPT and this whole exercise, even if it disappeared tomorrow, has pulled millions of people together, asked them to make a choice, and they chose. And Lisa, I think you're right. This conversation is all about confirming that choice. Caleb's come in and put us back on our haunches and said, "Why aren't you just doing it yourself?" And yes, we could take that approach, but I think the people listening to this really, really resonate with the stuff that's been presented by OPPT so far, how it's felt, the options it's given them. My choice is to go with it. I think what we're being faced with is confirming our choice. Do you really want this? We could do it another way, but do you really want this?
And the reason I think we're being asked this is energetic reasons, because I do think we're about to get hit with something big energetically. So we're being asked collectively and individually to really make our choice at a deep level, so that we are prepared for what's about to hit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the only variable that I'll add to that is we've been getting hit with big energies for some time now, but it's about to be, the frequency and the power behind it is about to go up an exponential amount of notches. Because we've all been feeling it.
I think the energy we've felt so far is just a taste of what's about to come over the next week to 10 days.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I think everybody has to keep in mind is the OPPT is not a savior. You don't want to. It's always been us. It's always been us. The OPPT has so much force and so much power because of the people. Because of what the people are doing and what the people are standing up and maneuvering. It's us. We are, all of us, anyone who chooses to be involved. We are the ones that are creating all of this. And we're making it up as we go. And I think that this is a positive conversation in that it really, like you said, Lisa, focuses on exactly what it is that we want. Where
Caleb's actually a great example of someone who stands in that knowing.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what it's all about. It's about the people.
Can I jump in here for a moment?
Please.
Here is my thought on this. And this is both today, more so than any other time, this really hit home for me. The OPPT is a tool. It's just a tool. It's not an entity. It's not a being. It is a tool. Right now, there's a couple of nails sticking up in front of us, and the OPPT, and what was done with the filings is the hammer that we're using to hammer those nails down flat again. But once that job is done, then the hammer gets put down. And we go on. And then we take it to the next level. It's only a tool. And it's not a governing body. It's not something that is to be looked upon as going to tell us what to do or who to be or when to do it or why we should do it. It's just a tool. And the tool's time is pretty much done now because everything's been done that needs to be done. And I wish we could get Heather on to tell us a little more about what's going on, but she's bouncing up and down on her internet like yo-yo. At the moment, she's actually making me dizzy watching her little Skype icon go up and down, up and down, up and down. AK, if you're listening, we'd really appreciate you call her on her cell phone.
Yeah. I'd just like to throw one more sort of conceptual description out there of the sort of process we've been going on, which was 25th of December. This information was released to it, and Heather and Caleb and Randall have been leading us through a process of learning what actually happened. What actually happened was that the if you like, the fake corporate framework that sits around aspects of our society that do good things to us, that manufacture stuff, was simply pulled away. The companies are still running. They don't know it's gone yet. And when they do know it's gone, they'll still keep running. And what they've suggested to us through the filings is an alternate framework. If you look at the filings, the suggestions they're making is very clear that it's a completely flat structure and everyone holds it in equity. It's a suggestion. Throw away the UCC, put those documents in the bin. We've still got that concept. That's what we've got to work for. We can choose that concept. That simply just becomes our idea, and we just need to turn an idea into a reality. We don't need the permission of anybody to do it. We can give ourselves permission. That's what the choice is. Don't need anyone to tell us what to do.
No, we don't. No, exactly. We are empowered beings who can make all of our own decisions based on what our hearts tell us to do, our higher selves guide us to do. We don't need someone standing behind us telling us what we can and can't do. We are perfectly capable of, for lack of a better term, ruling ourselves.
We've had a fantastic suggestion of how to actually do it, and I think we should move that forward, regardless of what happens to technically, what happens to the UCC and the OPPT. Technically, it doesn't matter. That concept is in our heads now and in our hearts, and that's where we need to keep it.
Well, the job's been done, hasn't it?
It has. The job has done.
The nails were
got
hammered down.
I know that Heather said that as long as the UCC exists, even though we're using it simply as a registry tool or a depository, but as long as it exists, then it's also usable as a slavery tool by, the other side. So it has to go. It's the last main slavery tool here, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. And like the other tools, it can all be chucked aside, right?
Well, if that's true, Lisa, and within the last 24 hours or 48 hours, the UCC has been dissolved, then the power...
It actually makes the evac process easier.
It makes it much easier because they're going to have to come to the people.
That's right.
They're going to have to come to the people. Once that system is shut down and they no longer can use their systems anymore to siphon off our energy, then they're going to have to find their own source of energy, which is an option for them, or they're going to have to come to the people.
There was a post that got put up, and I'm going to repeat it. I can't remember where it was put up.
That's Sophia Love's.
Sophia Love.
Yeah, she posted that on the blog.
She says, the OPPT isn't a law, something to sign, something to join, a conspiracy, a constitution, something to pay for, a requirement, something to follow, a demand, a trick, corrupt, invasive, or debt, a movement to follow, a set of rules to obey, a fad, a suggestion, a club, a group, a list of suggestions, a country, a government, a financial system, an educational system, a cult, a puzzle, something to vote for, something to fight for, a lie, fraud, deceit, a demand, a problem to decipher, going to hurt you, going to enslave you, going to tax you, going to ask you for money, going to foreclose on you, going to put you in jail, something for only the next generation. Easy to comprehend. It's none of the
that last one.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is easy to comprehend if, as we keep talking about, you listen to your heart. We talked about it last week on one of the shows, I don't remember which one, about reading the filings out loud. Read them out loud. Get the energy from them. You can feel it. So if you look at it from a brain point of view alone, yes, it is a little hard to wrap your head around some of these things. But if you're listening to it and reading it from your heart and reading the energy that is coming naturally and completely to you, then it's easier to understand. But it's not a brain exercise, it's a heart exercise.
And that's
Lisa,
why... Go ahead.
Lisa, why don't you read out the rest of that post about what it is?
I just put it up there, Lisa, right now.
Okay. OPT, what the OPPT is, simple to embrace, a restatement of our worth, the value of the one people, a restatement of the Declaration of Independence for all generations, transparent, legal, worldwide, free, and freedom. Now, okay, clearly there's been a lot of misunderstanding about what we've talked about so far today, because based on what's been going on in the chat room, people are scared now because courtesy notice is out. Don't be. That is your doing that has made... that's exactly what we're talking about here. Nothing has actually changed. Nothing's changed. What Caleb has provided is the perfect example of someone who knows who he is. And he's put forward questions in such a way that has helped us solidify who we are and what we want. And we've all been given an opportunity to answer that question for ourselves. Guys, nothing's changed. So do we want CVACs? That's the question. Do we really want them and need them? And how do we want them to look? And know it in your heart. Excuse me. Now, again, I'll repeat what I said before. I do think that we've been asked to really get down to the bottom and the depth of ourselves, to ask the questions as we move forward from here on in over the next 10 or so days. I do believe something energetic is happening. And we're going to really know, the answers to these questions for ourselves. That's why I think we're having the conversation we're having today.
I'll just point out something too on in terms of courtesy notices. The powers that be have said absolutely nothing about the actions of the trust. As soon as they acknowledge the existence of those filings, they have to acknowledge of their effectiveness. End of story. So your courtesy notices work just fine, because they have to stay under their spell until the very end, until this is all done. And the courtesy notices are exactly what they need to hear. It speaks to them in their own terms. So it doesn't change the effect of the courtesy notices, because the powers that were are not in a position to negate either UCC or anything that's happened into it, because they are completely stalemated and cornered. To deny the courtesy notices is to deny the existence and the effectiveness of the entire system, which they won't do, because it's all they've got left. All they've got left is the pretense that something's there. So let them proceed, because we are going to literally, around them, just quietly dismantle what they've done and recreate something ourselves.
I just want to change tax for a little bit. No, not a little bit. I'm going to change the subject altogether. This month, let's just have a little look at what has been put out there for March of 2013 over the years. Okay? There's an article on Before It's News called No Kidding, March 2013, right? And I'm just going to run through a list of things. Andrew Basiago, time traveller. He saw Washington D.C. underwater in 2013. Remote viewing have seen visions of doom in 2013. And Cliff High's WebBot, there is an absence of data after March of 2013. Now, the events that we've looked at so far. The Pope has resigned and a new Pope is to be appointed before the 18th. We have the spring equinox on the 20th. The precession of the equinoxes on the 20th. Obama's first trip to Israel is due on the 20th. There is an alignment on the 20th, which is the same alignment that happened on the 21st of December last year. The Montauk time travellers saw the impassable white barrier on March 21st of 2013. George Cavassalis, Half the World Ascends, on March 21st. On a more negative note, we've got Abomination that makes desolate March 21st. I don't know where that one comes from. Daniel's timeline. Evidence presented for March 21st, 22nd. According to this, the actual main calendar ends on March 21st, but I've never heard that one before. 322 is an occult date for skull and crossbones, which equals March 22nd. The Super Bowl lights went out with 13:22 left on the third quarter clock. The Dark Knight film shows 322 on the box of seats at the football game. The Georgia Guidestones, 33 years ago on March the 22nd. A biblical date, Mass, ideas concerning Obama and Israel for March 22nd. Obama's Peace Prize was on October 9, 2009 announcement. That is 1,260 days until March 22nd. It's and there's a few more things. To be honest, just keep going.
I'll just throw in one thing about Cliff High's data and some of the remote viewing data. What they see is an absence of government, as well as this washing effect, which I've come to conclude is a metaphoric cleansing that leads to the absence of government. And look around you, folks. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. So, by a lot of people's accounts, we're looking at a pretty big month. And I'll take you back to the post I mentioned earlier that's currently on American Kabuki. That was done through a hypnosis session. So I don't know how much value people give those things, but it's an interesting one as well. Are we able to get Heather on mobile? Is that what someone's saying? Or a phone?
It looks like American Kabuki added her cell phone number here in the thread, which is how we call her when we're having trouble with Skype, but I don't know if she actually came online. Oh, they're trying. We can keep going, and then I'm sure she'll speak up if she comes in.
Okay. So who wants to talk to this this energy they're in? And I know that I'm seeing it, and I know that feeling very, very much there's something big coming. We talked about this on the weekend. This is before I even saw any of these blog posts. It was part of conversations that I was having on the weekend that feels like something's coming that's going to switch us on. And I don't even know what that looks like. But Dee, I know you've been feeling something too.
Oh, I've been rocking all day. Seriously, it has been an unbelievable energy day today. If I had my choice, I think I would sit in Lotus all day today because the energy has been so unbelievable.
Well, what I would suggest, Lisa, for anybody that hasn't gone and read this article yet, definitely go to the American Kabuki blog and read it. and then discern for yourself if it feels like truth. Because this particular type of hypnosis, I've done some study on it. She calls it quantum hypnosis. Dolores Cannon calls it nambulistic. It's from the nambulistic level of hypnosis, which is the deepest level of hypnosis, where the deepest part of people's consciousness and subconscious minds come to the forefront. They don't know what they're talking about during the hypnosis. They have to listen to the audio tape back after they come back. But what this is sharing, what makes it so powerful is that it corroborates with so much of the other information that's already out there. So read it. The event that it describes is a merging of the minds of all of humanity coming to a place where there's a really powerful line in here that the illusion is over. Like I said before, it's the same thing as talking about the duality being over. And everything is exchange of energy. This conversation, the back and forth that we have, whether people want to discern the energy as being from positive or negative, that's a judgment that our minds make of certain things that's based on perception. But the energy in reading this, it's powerful, and everybody can. There's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this call that can feel and have been able to feel since, whether that's the last couple of months since OPPT has come out, since it's been December 21st, since the harmonic convergence back in the 80s, that there's something in the air, and it's coming to a point of a tipping point, a mass tipping point. So I definitely feel it. I can only speak for myself. I've been giggle fest for the last 48 hours. Anybody that listens to my radio show this morning, it's probably hard to hear what we're talking about a lot of times. We're laughing the whole way through it because we're connecting with that joy energy. And it feels good and it feels right. And, only time will tell. But
Brian,
it's hard to say, yeah.
We do have a lot of people with their hand up now, and I'm sure...
Cool.
Let's try and get through some of these questions while...
You don't like my buffalo line of thought, and now you're going to cut me off in the middle? Brian?
Actually, Brian, you're off the hook. We do have buffalo in certain parts of Northern Territory.
Thank you, Chris. I told you I love you lately. Pipe down, Lisa. Go ahead and
go sit in the corner, Brian.
Let's try and get through this and try and help. We'll get some answers to their questions.
All right.
So, got an American Bookie trying to bring Heather in for us. Area code 917.
Hello?
Yes. Hey.
Hi. I have a yes or no question. Was Cody Morgan put in jail because of using the CNs?
No.
No, absolutely, no. Absolutely not. I can answer that. I can answer that in a little bit more depth. Cody Morgan.
I'll need it as a yes or no question. That's all I wanted to know.
The answer is absolutely not.
Okay. My other point is that there seems to be a lot of infighting now between the trustees.
Oh no, I wouldn't call it infighting.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of discrepancies between the three, especially with Caleb's last comment about if he had control over his CVAC, he would create an empire. To me, it sounds like that the OPPT is starting to decline as far as its power and what it can provide.
We are its power. Every single one of us is its power.
Well, okay, great. Well, let's get past all the etherical 5D, 4D crap, and let's deal with stuff on a 3D level. If you don't mind me speaking so frankly, where do you see this heading? It already sounds like that there's a lot of room for people to start discrediting what the OPPT has done, what the trustees have done, and that is a big concern for me because I have a lot of people who are trying to break free from the system, the slavery system, and move into a place of being and doing. So, where do you see this heading?
Sorry, I was muting myself because I was coughing. Where do I see this thing? That we continue doing what we're doing. We continue educating the system that it's finished. I don't think anybody can discredit what's been done. It's because it's done. People can discredit if they want to where we are and where we want to go. That's up to them. Where I want to go is I want to continue to educate the system that it's finished. I want to continue to educate the system that it has no authority over me anymore, and I will be using courtesy notices to do that. I want to get to a point within myself where I completely and utterly understand my value.
Well, Caleb himself said he doesn't want to take a stance of authoritative position, which leads me to believe that the other two trustees may want to take that stance. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
extremely wrong. Extremely wrong.
You're
nobody in the position
with
of
all
I'm
due
sorry,
respect,
there's too many people speaking. People speaking.
With all due respect, sir, you couldn't be more wrong. And you posed it as a question, and we're giving you an answer. Caleb and Heather and Randall never claimed to have any disagreements in their positioning and how they developed One People's Public Trust. I mean, it was able to come into being what it is because they each brought their own set of circumstances and beliefs and values and patterns into the mix to create the One People's Public Trust. Hold on, sir, I'm not done. Think of Caleb and Heather and Randall like a family. Have you ever had disagreements with your brother or your sister or your father? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, do you still love them? Of course you do. So the trustees are no different in that regard. They love each other. They also bring very different opinions on certain matters. Some of those differing of opinions have been brought to light in this call. But that doesn't change where we've been or where everything is headed. It's just simply brought to light that some people have differences of opinion. That's life.
So, in the Skype messages that were left on certain blog spots, mentioning like that they want to see the OPPT dissolved, they want to see the UCC dissolved. Then what power do we have by claiming under those courtesy notices to have any power?
Because that was still done. It was still done. The OPPT acted as a bridge and did those filings. They're done. It's not like you can undo what's been done, and you're still in a position to make a reference to them. But in terms of the power, well, that's obviously with you.
The filings never gave you the power. The filings didn't give you anything. The filings are just something for the powers that were to be notified.
But doesn't that, in a sense, mean that it empowers me to be more being?
Only you can empower you. Only you can empower you. Either you believe that someone can tell you what you can and can't do, or you don't.
We've always been saying that these documents, if we don't stand up and come together and know who we are and take action on who we are, then the filings are useless. And if we do, then the filings are useless. It doesn't, they're irrelevant. It's always been, and it is always just a tool. Some people like and need to have that piece of paper in their hand that says you're free. Some of us need it.
So what is your response to the fact that Caleb just said that if he had control over his CVAC, that he would create an empire?
Well, he does have control over his CVAC because he is a CVAC.
Hey, hold on. This is Caleb. I'm going to address that real quick. I said if everyone wants me to do the work, I will build an empire because my labor is not free. I understand its value. Okay? So when the children of Israel, if you read the Bible, got mad and went to the prophet Daniel and said, we want a king, as the nations around us have, Daniel said, if you do that, the king will take your sons and daughters for his men and maiden servants. And that's what happened. Okay?
So if you were to do that, then where does it leave the other people?
I don't want to do that.
He's using that story as a story. He doesn't want to build an empire. What he was saying is that if everybody came to him wanting him to do all the work with Steve, he would have no other choice because he would be contributing more of his energy to help everybody else. So he never in any way, shape, or form said that he wanted to build an empire. So that's what he's saying right now in his response to your question.
Okay, I
do
appreciate
you have another question?
That should do it. Thanks.
Well, thank you for calling.
Thank you. Okay. I'm just going to mute you, and I'm going to bring out, we have Seraph.
Nice.
Seraph, you there? Oh, hang on, his microphone's not muting at this end. 1 second. Seraph, what's going on with your microphone? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys fine.
Okay, we can hear you now,
too. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. How's everybody doing? Everybody good?
Always good, my man.
Yep.
Okay, check this out. First of all, let us not forget that Caleb, and I know because I've talked to Caleb for long periods of time, and he's hilarious. What you guys have to understand about Caleb, he's kind of like Nick Barnes, the computer guy from Saturday Night Live.
Move.
He knows his stuff, and he knows what he's talking about. Now, he may not convey it in a way that makes you feel all touchy and warm and floaty, but he's telling you the truth. The bottom line is I told Heather 2 weeks ago, Heather, if you set a date, I'm going to hold you to it. And if it comes and goes, it doesn't matter because I've already decided April 1st, I'm going shopping like a boss. It is on. I'm telling you. And I don't care if you believe, oh, well, money is just and look, if everybody on this planet got access and knew that they had access to their own personal value, their own energy, they knew it. The only difference between the one that Christians call Jesus and every human being on the planet is he knew it. Once we get to the point where we know it, we don't need anybody to tell us or give us any documents or nothing. The bottom line is this. Just like during the American slave movement, I call it the American Holocaust, but that's a whole other story. But during the American slave movement, there were people like Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth who opened the door, kicked the door wide open, and started traveling north. Do you know there were thousands and thousands of slaves who said, well, I'm not going to, I need Mr. Johnson to tell me that I can leave. That's retarded. That's crazy. Heather, Randall, and Caleb kicked the door in. That's all they did. They kicked the door in. They pimp-slapped the farces that were. And what they did was say, okay, let's go to freedom. And we got all these millions of people crying and said, well, where's my document? Where's my paperwork? What? She just kicked the door in. Go north. Go north. It's just that simple. Do as you are. Because all of the farces that were have always been a farce. There's nothing real that's ever existed in them. All they did was say, hey, look, guys, these people aren't even real. This isn't even real. So now go. Do what you got to do. And like I said, CVAC, I'm a CVAC. You don't have to set up a system. I'll set up my own system. Funding, Treasury, if that doesn't go down in a week or two, it doesn't matter. April 1st, I'm going. What I say, Brahim? I'm going shopping like a boss. Some way or another, I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do on April 1st. If Heather, Randall, and Caleb help me, awesome, cool. I already told Caleb today. Caleb, as soon as this is all done and I buy all the stuff I ever felt like I wanted and then I take a couple of breaths I'm coming to you, brother. We're going to write some epic music. It's on. I don't care. It's done. It's done. Quit crying about it and just start heading north. Start packing your bags. Load the wagon. That's what's up.
Can I get an amen?
I hate to break it down. Don't make me wing slap somebody in here. So that's what's up.
I saw that as for me the analogy was the OPPT came in, back the curtain, and we all saw the wizard behind the curtain standing there with his pants down. And that's, now that the illusion has been broken of who and what they are, they've lost their power over you, in my opinion.
Exactly.
It's just, little guy with his pants.
That's my point.
Okay, thank you, Seraph. I'll leave you out and bring someone else.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll leave you in my paper. Okay, area code 646.
Hello, Lisa.
Area code 646.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Lisa. It's Rick.
Hi, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
I have a feeling we definitely need a little levity in this situation here.
You gonna bring some? Bring it on.
I was thinking about some good one-liners, but there were none coming to mind, and I thought, oh great, I'm probably the second or third caller, and sure enough. First of all, I just want to say I'd listened to Caleb on the abbreviated interview on Morning Brew a few days ago. Thought he was immensely articulate and had wonderful things to say, things that were so crystal clear that I ended up, mentioning them to other people later as metaphors. So I'm not particularly fazed by anything that's happened tonight because I think the man probably has a vision that's a lot bigger than most people can grok. And
I think you're right.
And that frustration now is coming out in the chat room, like I don't get it. Where's the hook? Take him off stage, all that kind of crap. And frankly, I think it's been said a couple of times. We got that kick in the rubber parts that we needed, and really, that's what it's. That we've been seeing that in our films for over a decade. We saw it with Morpheus and Neo in The Matrix. We saw it in V and Evie and V for Vendetta. We saw it again with Cloud Atlas last year. The whole discernment and distinctions about freedom, and people, still are saying, "Show me the money," like it's the Jerry Maguire show or something. And money is no more relevant, in my opinion, than the CVAC thing. They're tools, they're constructs that allow us to feel we have power, but they don't give us power. They give us the perception that we have power. So
let you know.
I hope you're getting all of this down, and you're typing furiously. You're getting all this?
Stop typing furiously.
Take copious notes.
Anyway, I didn't really have a question. I did have a question, but after the whole conversation turned the corner, it's like, well, my question sucks, and I'm not going to ask it because it's embarrassing. But I just wanted to say then, since I've got the time and I'm going to get off, is that I don't see any discontinuity. What I see is exactly what you said. It's providing a contrast, and that gives us better depth perception. And if you can't deal with the depth perception, then hey, like Caleb said, go find another master. So bless you all. You're holding together pretty well under pressure, I have to say. So right on. And still a fan.
Thanks,
still a fan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, area code 514. I'm going to try and race through these. Area code 514.
Hello.
Area code 5.
There he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What was your name?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wow, it's incredible. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. You're wonderful. My name is Paul. I'm calling from Montreal. I would like to do some filings, and I'm not very good at it. And I would like to have a phone number of the OPPT here in Montreal, so I can give them a phone number. Do
so I can call them and ask them if they can help me with that.
Are you talking about just using the courtesy notice, or are you talking about?
Yeah, the courtesy.
There's an email that is manned by Ken Bartle here in Australia. Then you can communicate with him via the email address.
I'm not very good with the computer. I was hoping for a phone number and make an appointment with one of them so they can help me with to file this correctly.
Well, there's nobody officially to call, because this is a people-driven movement from everybody all around the world, and the ones who created the courtesy notice are based in Australia. However, I'm sure there are people in Montreal who are using them and be happy to help you. How could they possibly get in touch with you? Do you have an email address they contact you with?
Well, like I said, I'm not very good with the computer, and I probably would have to reboot the whole thing. But I can't give my phone number, but I don't know if somebody will call me. I don't know.
Well, I don't really want you to announce your phone number on the air.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I was just going to say. We don't really want to announce in public personal phone numbers over the radio. If he can get an email to me, I can hook him up with Dale.
He doesn't have an email.
But that's the problem. Yes, Chris, Daryl.
Yeah, there's no way of doing this on the air with phone numbers, so it's not really. There's no easy fix here.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys.
So,
thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Hang in there. Sooner or later, you won't need that courtesy notice.
Say again?
Thanks. He said sooner or later you won't need the courtesy notice, but in the meantime, really, resources are all online. So,
should I just message from Daryl that he's happy to help him out, but we just need these two people in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Any suggestions?
And we can't do that via advertising phone numbers. I'm sorry.
No, that's what I'm just going to say. Other than swapping phone numbers at point. Do you have a friend or family member who's got an email address that could email you?
Oh, boy. There's about 400 people here in the block that I'm living in. I'm leaving some memos here and there, and the next day I find them in the garbage. I'm like alone. But like you guys say, maybe later on we won't need it, so I guess I'll just move on with that. And I'll keep listening to the show in case something happens. And Lisa, I've been...
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
No, you can finish your sentence. Okay, no, he's gone. All right, area code 612. Area code 612.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi,
Lisa.
What's your name? It's Elizabeth from Minnesota. Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey, I feel sorry for that man that we talked about standing up all night, and maybe you could see his phone number and give it to Dee, and she can hook him up with the guy who could help him. I don't know. But anyway, that was a suggestion you can do, because I think you can see the phone numbers. Yeah.
I could have, but it's still.
And, this has been a roller coaster ride tonight. I just want to tell Caleb, thank you, my man, my brother, for bringing the contrast. I tell you, it didn't feel too good, but, brother, it's for a reason, because the ones that know this line, we are in Mercury retrograde, which means if people don't know what that is, we're looking into ourselves, each one of us, and everybody, there's a lot of people on this call, and, most of this call, they're, lost. But that's okay. Hang in there. Because to me, Caleb, Heather, and the other guy, the trustees, just tonight was a microcosm. Even though they have not completely, but different opinions on what they did. They hung together. They were a team, and they put this tool in place for us, even though it sounds like they're not together, but they are. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I just want to encourage everybody, from what I learned from a fantastic lady, Cynthia, regarding the energies, this is where it has to go. Lisa, you're right. We're at the last push. We're in a birth canal. We're going to be birthed. And it's going to be a brand new world, and we're going to think and do and know brand new things that we never imagined. And March 28th, there is a lineup, and I believe from December 21st, 2012 to March 28th of 2013, we're in a birth canal, and we're going to be birthed. On that day, there's a lineup of Venus, the Sun, and the Earth on that day. And, hey, it can happen in a twinkle of an eye. So in that twinkle of the eye, the way I can see it is that's the only way it can happen for us to come into a stronger unity and stand up like Caleb so has in his heart. Yes, that one guy that spoke earlier, yes, Caleb, you're way ahead of us. And you're way ahead of us. You're a young man, and we're about ready to catch up, sir. So I love you and love everybody, and hang in there, everybody. And Lisa, thanks for bringing up. I think that's the missing puzzle piece, and we had to have this conversation tonight. So, Caleb, thank you. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hey, before we do run out of time, is there anything else that is said to you, Dee? Are you with us, Dee?
Hold on. Oh, I am unmuted.
Is there anything else that Heather gets said to you that you can share? Because people are wanting to hear whatever we've got that's come from Heather.
You know what? It's done today. It's done. It's all done. It's completely done. And everything. We as humans, as of today, officially have all of our value back. It is ours. Ours to keep, to have and to hold, and all that good stuff. And that is one of the most important aspects of everything that we've talked about so far. Every person is their own CFAC. And each of those beings has been given their value back. It's theirs to have.
So essentially, with or without paperwork, because the UCC is also gone, right?
That's right.
The CVACs are online because we're all here. We're all online.
That's right.
And we do... Okay, so whatever needed to be done in the background in terms of giving us access to our value has happened.
Yep, it's taken care of. It's all been taken care of, and now it is the moving forward on how does that play out. The term that I believe, and I hope I'm getting this right, that Heather used to me last week was, up until this morning, it was getting the CVAC system set up, ready to go. This week is dealing with the treasury aspect of it, so to speak. Again, it doesn't even remotely adequately describe it, obviously, but it gives people at least a basic understanding of where we are.
So if I understand what you're saying, whatever needed to happen behind the scenes in order to create the access to value system, the treasury system, has happened.
Yes.
And what we're on the verge of now is the unfolding of the whatever mechanisms need to happen in order for us to actually access it.
Exactly.
So for all the people who were freaking out about what Caleb was saying, who thought it meant no CVACs, no treasury, you're saying that's not the case.
What I'm saying is that exactly the CVACs are each and every individual person. Each person, each being is their own CVAC. That's the whole basic idea behind it. And the final put together of it all will happen this week. Over the next course of, I'm not sure exactly how long, but we didn't get to that conversation. I have been able to have a decent Skype conversation with Heather in about 72 hours with her internet being the way it is.
I know.
So give it, we're looking at, again, that week to 10 days time of all the rest of being done.
Okay, so someone, Ryan, please.
Ryan, do stop beating up your hair, please.
Yeah, it's really noisy.
Ryan, this is the naughty again.
Okay, so based on
this one.
I want to be absolutely clear about this because there's been so much confusion so far in this call, and people have something and made it mean something else. And now you're being accused of backpedaling. So, trying to get a connection between what you're saying and what Caleb was saying.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to it. I missed all of what Caleb was saying. I came in back on at the very tail end of it, so I pretty much missed everything that Caleb said. Sorry, Caleb.
Okay. Well,
to be really clear, Caleb did not say there will be no CVACs and there will be no Treasury Acts. He did not say that. He stated his opinion about how he would do it. And I think you'll agree with that, Caleb, if you're unmuted. And also, Caleb hasn't had any direct discussions with Heather about exactly what she was doing or was going to release today. Is that also true, Caleb?
Very true.
Well, then what we were listening to was Caleb's views. And Caleb is completely entitled to his views. So, insofar as where is Heather's at with the development she's doing on giving us access to value in the CVACs, that stands.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah,
according to Heather, we are seriously full steam ahead.
Yeah, I mean that's the message we've been getting for several days from Heather in bits and pieces as she gets back on air. So, in fact, that proposition still stands. We've had a very spirited discussion because Caleb's presented us with a really in-your-face view, and that's part of the process, folks. So, given we've only got a few minutes to go on the show, Lisa, let's just keep pushing to get absolute clarification from Heather over the next 24 hours. And
hang on, we might be able to do that now. 1 second.
Well,
I'm trying to...
We're
quick.
We're doing a ridiculous jump around, and we've got AK on a phone, and he's called her on her cell phone, and he's trying to tie her in through Blog Talk. So just give us a moment.
AK, how can I identify you in the Blog Talk? Let me know that. I will bring you straight out.
Lisa, we can go over.
Yes, I know. And we probably will. If we actually do get Heather online, we will. I'm sure of it. So if we manage to get Heather online, guys, and we do go over, if you're just listening to this at Blog Talk, you'll lose the connection. If you've called in, you'll be able to hear the rest of the show. Otherwise, you'll have to go back and listen to the archive. AK, let me know how to find you. Where are you?
I can't find him. I can't get a hold of him. I'm trying to flag him down.
I can just speak while you guys are looking for Bill to the energy that Heather was portraying in the Skype room today was absolutely. I mean, she was excited and positive. I watched a lot of the Skype dialogue, but the only person that's going to be able to speak for Heather is Heather at this point. So hopefully.
Absolutely! It's the same message I was getting. The little snippets that I was getting over the last few days is that it's all done, and we're full steam ahead.
Oh yeah, seriously, full steam ahead.
Yep.
So, watch this space, and tomorrow, because we've run out of time now, one of the things I'd like to do, I'll take a couple of minutes now. I'll reserve a couple of minutes in the show tomorrow. I actually want to read out a couple of paragraphs out of the one of the documents that defines the CVACs to share with you why the concept is exactly what I want to see happen. And it's all down there in black and white, folks, and I'll read it out tomorrow.
Okay, hold on. We're still struggling here. I'm playing a tag with AK all over. 760. Looking for 760 area code.
760. I've got one here.
Give it a try.
Okay, AK, is that you? AK, is that you? Hello? I've got a 760.
That should be him. 767.
I've got another one. Hang on. I'm going to try all the 760. 760. AK, is that you?
Hello, this is Anna Marie.
Okay, sorry, I'm looking for somebody else. I'm looking for American Kabuki. No, that's the two that I've got. So he's not 760.
Hold on.
He's typing in right now. I lost her.
All right. What are we up to? 5 minutes to go. Should we try and squeeze another call in? I've got two people here with 760. So you're unmuted if you're on 760. Hello? No? Okay, I will mute you again. All right, guys. Anything else, Dee, from Heather that you wanted to share?
No, just, kind of like Brian said, I just wish I could share the energy with everyone that we've had for the last 4 days especially. There is no pause, there is no delay, there is only full steam ahead, and the energy has been incredibly powerful, and just we are moving forward and moving forward fast now. And so I can see in the chat rooms, in the RTS chat room, people are starting to get all upset. This is not a halt, this is not a delay, this is not anything like that. Nothing has changed. And we are seriously moving forward.
Caleb, do you want to say anything to that? Because I think people have really taken what you said I don't know. They've taken it to heart, and they've taken it very negatively.
Well, listen, I'm going to be really clear here, as clear as I can. No one is showing up on a white horse with flowing hair to rescue you. You are rescuing you. All the gold in the world doesn't rescue you. All the silver in the world doesn't rescue you. You do. And when you step forward and you seize that moment, amazing things will occur. Beautiful things will occur. Because you, in that moment, become the center. And once you become the center, you realize all the value flows through me. And you'll have this awakening. And in that moment, you'll see what I'm particularly speaking towards. You'll see that you need anyone give you permission to do anything. You don't need a degree. You don't need a high school diploma. You don't need anything other than the idea that you can go forth and achieve that which you perceive. But that's you. I can you. I will not do that for you. And as you come to that space, as you undo all of the programming that's been put upon you since you were born, since you were 6 years old or years old, you'll start to see the world in a whole different light. And then you will see that, not in a narcissistic sense, but you will literally see that you are the center of it. And once you come to that place, you'll realize that you can harness the power of the energy, harness the power of the universe, and it can flow through you. And you can do whatever you want. And once you're there, you become the CVAC. So if you study history, these are the slivers of things that I believe people like Albert Einstein and the Wright brothers grasped onto. And so what I encourage you to do is these things don't need to be accidents. These can be purposeful events. And we can all be Albert Einstein. We can all be the Wright brothers. We can all be Chopin. We can all be Da Vinci. We can all reach forth into the universe and bring out this magnificent energy and use it to bless each other and the world around us. That's all I have to say.
Well put.
Okay.
The one thing I would add is I'd like to remind everyone of the incredible show that we had, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I have no track of time anymore. When Heather explained the meaning of the filings on December 10th.
The Declaration of Satisfaction.
That's right. The experiment is over. And I think that's what Caleb is kind of talking about too, and that's what I take it is When the experiment is over and we all take off our blindfolds, we will remember, and then we will know exactly who we are and what our value is. We don't need to be rescued, and I hear Caleb on that, because we already know it. We already know it.
Guys, we're down to seconds. I'm going to thank everybody for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 hour later, on the 5D network. And if we cannot get Heather on tomorrow's call, then we will try just to make the best of it whenever she's online. We'll record a conversation with her so she can share what she wants to share, and we'll make that available. So thank you all. It's been a big one, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Namaste. Namaste.
Good night.